participants. My name is Tabassum Modi. I've been in the business of events for the last 20 years. I run an event management company and content production house based out of Mumbai called Victor Tango Entertainment Private Limited. I'm here today to talk to you about the topic of event manager as a professional leader. And within that, we will address the specific skills required to be an event manager. So let's get straight to it. After listening to this session, you will be able to understand the benefits of having good networking skills and negotiation skills, explain why technical, interpersonal, and language skills are important, understand why service orientation is an essential quality required for an event manager, and know about handling pressures. Let's begin with networking skills. So, why are networking skills so important? Getting a good event opportunity relies on networking. Networking and knowing people who provide products and services related to the event or connect with those who can facilitate and support as they are important for the event manager or the event management company. So, what are event managers? Event managers are basically aggregators of different services that different people have. We bring everything together, package it, and give the client what they want. So we know what the client wants, and there are various service providers who have bits and pieces of what they want. So the event manager's role is actually to bring the right kind of services together to be able to give the client the experience that they are looking for. So one of the most basic things that an event manager needs to know is who is providing what kind of service and at what rate. Once we have that information handy, it's easy for us to kind of put it together and sell a package to the client. Over a period of time, an event manager can build a large network of such contacts, such as colleagues, communities, societies, as well as vendors, suppliers, caterers, contractors, decorators, and hotels. Networking also helps build relationship with media, clients, potential colleagues, and other agencies. See, it's the day and age of collaboration. So you must be wondering why other agencies are important because they are probably your competitors. But that's not how we look at agencies today. We look at every agency to be a potential collaborator because one agency cannot meet all the requirement of the client. More and more agencies are getting specialized in what they do. So if my client has a requirement of something that I don't offer, I can always bring in another agency who services that requirement, and together we can give my client the experience that he wants. Potential colleagues. Now, sometimes you meet people and say, okay, I would like to have this person on my team, either as an employee of my company or as a freelancer, or they're great at what they do. Maybe whenever I have a requirement of this sort, I would like to work with this person. So it's good to always have a roster of such people in your mind, or in a software where okay, if I ever want to work with an MC, then this is the kind of MC I want to work with. Or if I want to work with somebody who writes a script, then these are the script writers. So they can all be potential colleagues, or maybe even within your team. If you meet somebody who is a really creative person or is great at social media, or is great at his technical knowledge for something that you're not very capable of, it's always good to make a mental note of such people so that you can call upon them when you need to and when the need arises. Of course, you need to network with your clients to be able to get the business in the first place. So selling yourself, marketing yourself, going out there, being there, meeting them regularly is all extremely important in the business development process to be able to bag a project. Being in the media is important so that everyone knows you exist and what is the kind of work that you do. Now, how do you do networking? Word of mouth works best in our industry. You do a good project, people know you for that good project, they keep coming back to you and they keep recommending you to other people. Uh, we can advertise ourselves also, but because it's B2B in terms of nature of business, we're selling from one business to another. Only trade advertising works out for us. So no kind of consumer advertising really works out unless you're doing public ticketed events and things like that, wherein what you're selling is more important than who you are. So let's say you're doing a Bryan Adams concert, people will come and buy tickets to a Bryan Adams concert without really wondering who the agency is behind it. So advertising in our case works from a trade advertising point of view. Online social networks is extremely important. LinkedIn today, even Insta and Facebook, tomorrow may be something else, but uh, we cannot ignore online social networks, and that does help a great deal in terms of networking. So creating social media networks to chat with people within the industry, let's say follow some popular people and what their work is, follow news related to events, follow event hashtags online, other people using those hashtags, and you could post on their profiles and connect with attendees. There are lots of live events that are also happening. So it's a good idea to actually even follow those events, maybe attend those events to get a sense of how to network. Visiting networking events. Now, as an industry, we have an industry body called EMA, which organizes various industry related trade shows and networking events. And that's a great platform to actually meet other event managers and understand what is happening in the business landscape. Like EMA, there are also other bodies which are specific to industry. So there's a wedding body, there are trade media platforms that organize networking events. There's several networking events that happen. So it's good to attach yourself to any one of these to understand what the business landscape is looking like and how things are constantly changing. Um, it's also good to know some important and popular people within the industry whenever you have to give referrals or recommendations. Not just your clients, but your colleagues also are extremely important when it comes to that. Negotiation skills. Now, this is a key skill for every event manager. And negotiation is not just restricted to negotiating the price of a good of your project with the client or the client's procurement team. Negotiation happens at various levels. You could be negotiating with your team in terms of what is the role that you're giving each one of them. You could be negotiating with obviously your vendors to get the best deal out of them. And not all negotiations is only about price negotiation. Sometimes you could even negotiate based on value. So if someone can do a work faster for you, that would give you savings in something else. So for example, if a vendor comes and tells you, instead of setting up for 24 hours, I will set up overnight, then there is a cost saving in terms of your venue hire charge. So in that case, you might not be negotiating price with the supplier or a contractor or a vendor, you're just negotiating time. Sometimes you could even be negotiating just the payment pattern or the payment terms. So somebody might say, okay, I want to reduce my cost, but I will give you more time to pay me. So I'll give you 6 months or I'll give you 9 months to pay me, or the other way around. You can tell them that, okay, you give me a lower rate, but I'll pay you as soon as the event gets over. So payment terms becomes one of the factors of negotiation. So you just need to be very innovative with how you negotiate. It could be cost, it could be payment terms, it could be time taken to do the event, it could be the quality of the event, it could be, okay, for the same cost, give me better quality of the equipment so that at least your client is happy with in terms of the event experience. So negotiation actually is a very creative process, and you have to constantly innovate the way you negotiate so that to get the best value for the project. So negotiating for an event manager is a process of achieving agreement through discussion, a skill that all event managers should have, as it gives them the ability to negotiate with clients, suppliers, contractors, and vendors. Distributive negotiation is a win-lose kind of a negotiation, often focused on a single use, example, price of conducting an event. Integrative negotiation is a collaborative bargain to maximize joint outcome by recognizing and seeking value on multiple issues. Negotiate deals which will benefit you and your client. Some basic pointers: before you begin any negotiation, you should know what is the absolute best alternative for achieving your objective. So you need to know what is the bottom line, right? You also need to know what are the other options you have with you. So if a particular person you're negotiating with says, no, I'm not interested, or I cannot give you what you're asking for, Do you have a backup plan, or are you going to be completely left hanging without an option if you say no to this guy? So having options gives you a better negotiating power. With practice and opportunity, negotiation skills becomes better. This will also make you more confident and a stronger negotiator. When you meet each other in networking events, you get a lot of opportunity to discuss and bargain. Key to being a successful event planner or manager, approach each negotiation as a collaboration and not as competition. This is absolutely a key. Create win win situations for whoever you're negotiating with. Because today you might be in a particular position, tomorrow you might be in their position. And as an event manager, we're constantly fighting both battles, right? There is a client side who's negotiating with us, and we are constantly negotiating with our suppliers. So very often what happens is we don't actually make money from the client. We actually make money from our suppliers. So you're always in that you're on either side of the table at any point of time. So always have a collaborative approach if you want a collaborative approach from your client. Technical skills. An event manager needs to have the capabilities to understand information technology, which would include computer hardware, software, networking, internet. Additional knowledge of technical facilities like lighting, electricals, and electronics is necessary. Some idea of space and understanding of technical site maps, drawings can help in knowing what kind of space is required and what would be the layout. Another important aspect is the knowledge of requirement of sound equipment. Now, these kind of skills actually come with a lot of experience, a lot of time being spent on the floor and seeing things happen. So it's nice if you're beginning to always be an apprentice to someone who knows, listen to them and understand, and learn on the job. Very often, these things cannot be taught to you theoretically. It's always good to have hands on experience. And the more hands on experience you have, you constantly keep learning and evolving, especially in times like now where digital is so much a part of what we do as events physically. You need to constantly keep innovating, learning, being on top of your game in terms of what is new that's happening. In recent years, electronic gadgets, equipments, machines, and automation have made it much easier to plan and execute events. Hence, you need to know how to operate them. For this, some of the apps, resources, and devices for technical literacy are event management softwares, event marketing softwares, ticketing apps, social media platforms, Microsoft Office and Google G Suite, project management tools, and audiovisual equipment. So, very often we see that traditional teams who have been working hands on shy away from taking help of softwares or apps because they feel it's additional work for them. But you have to understand that once you start getting used to working with these softwares, you kind of, it becomes a part of your life. It's like Excel for an event manager. When you come into the business of events, you probably did not know Excel or you did not know PowerPoint. But over the years, you cannot do an event without an Excel sheet. You have to plan down everything that you need to do, or your schedules or workflows on an Excel sheet. So it's become your best friend over time. Similarly, softwares keep evolving. So it's good to always have an eye out on which are the good softwares. How can they make your life easier? And try and learn it, try and apply it. And if you don't know, take help from someone younger, someone more internet savvy, someone more who's more in tune with this way of working, because eventually it will help you. Moving on to interpersonal skills. An event manager's interpersonal skills will enable the ability to communicate with clients effectively. Interpersonal skills can be depicted through the following: how well we communicate with others, our confidence, our ability to listen and understand, empathy for the client, problem solving, decision making, personal stress management. Now, each one of these points are extremely important, and you have to understand that when you're in a project, it's a high pressure situation. It's not just high pressure for you and your team. Believe me, it is very high pressure for the client also. So he has placed his trust on you, on your team to deliver something for which he is also answerable back at his company or her company. So there is a lot riding on the success of this event. So the pressure is constantly going to be high. Your client is constantly going to be looking for best value for his company through the event. And you are going to be constantly looking for being able to deliver a good quality event. So sometimes you will see notice that the client is moving towards communicating with one particular person in your team, and that's probably because they've kind of hit a particular rapport in terms of their interpersonal skills. So they try to communicate through that person because they get confidence from that person. They feed off the trust and confidence the other person is giving them. Your ability to solve problems and take decisions quickly would give your client that trust in you. So, these skills are extremely important to be a part of every event manager or every event leader's DNA. Event managers with strong interpersonal skills are more successful. With calm and confident event managers, clients, suppliers, and colleagues feel more comfortable in communicating. Interpersonal skills can be developed on a continuous basis. So the more you do, the older you get, the more experience you get. You've seen so many different situations. You've encountered so many different crises. So you know when to actually fret and when not to let things affect you. And it will come with time and experience. Body language and language skills. The unspoken element of communication is probably the most important thing when it comes to events. It actually shows your true feelings and emotions. For example, your gestures, your facial expression, your posture, how you feel towards a certain thing. Sometimes you don't need to say it at all, but if you're feeling that what your client is asking you is absolutely unreasonable, it will show on your face. So try and be conscious of your body language because it communicates far more than you want to communicate. Body language is seen as a part of an event manager's communication. This becomes more visible when you're constantly on the move and directing your team and interacting with various people. Looking dynamic and full of energy will inspire others and make them feel energized. During a project, now there are going to be extended hours of work. There are going to be nights when you've not slept. There's going to be pressure because there's a deadline and maybe things are not moving at the speed at which you wanted it to move. So, how you handle a particular situation, your nonverbal communication, your attitude, your body language is going to define how everyone else works. So, when you see things are not done and you get down to doing it yourself, your team will automatically become conscious of the fact that probably the thing is not done on time and start working faster. So everybody is looking at you, your client is looking at you, your suppliers are looking at you, your team is looking at you. So your what you do, what you say, what you feel, what you think, your body language is communicating every minute, whether you're stressed, whether you're happy with what has happened, whether you find something is absolutely ridiculous. Everything is being watched by people who are working for you and with you. So try and be as positive as you can in your outlook. Language is a very essential skill for every event manager. This skill helps to communicate better. English is definitely required unless you're working in very regional markets where it helps to know the regional language also. But mostly it is the ability to communicate what you have in mind, because you as the event manager know or have planned something. For your supplier or your vendor to give you what you have planned, you need to be able to communicate that. That could be through pictures, it could be through local language, it could be through English, it could be some kind of non-verbal communication. But being able to communicate what you need is very, very important. Otherwise you will come on the event day and see that something completely different is made from what you had in mind. Service orientation. Events is a service based business. By being service oriented, an event manager can always satisfy and get clients to come back and refer you to others. So, if you see, it's all a big circle. Your negotiation skills, your networking skills, your ability to service your client, and your ability to generate more business. It's all looped in together. Do a good project and you get more work, you get references. But one bad project can really tarnish your image for a very, very long time. So you're as good as the last project you did. And remember that for every project, irrespective of how many projects you've done, that last project has to be your best project. And that goes on, that never changes. All you need to do is provide customer service that exceeds your client's expectation and outshines your competitors' customer service. It's always nice to say under promise and over deliver. It's something you probably could have heard, but you can't completely under promise. But in adding a little bit, a little touch from your side, which the client doesn't expect, could have that delight factor, which will make them come back to you. In every event, speed is very important factor of success. So an event manager should be time sensitive. An event manager should believe in commitment. Anything that you have said, you need to deliver, whether the circumstances are favorable or not, whether money is there or not. If you've committed, you need to deliver it. Event manager should be a good listener to what the clients are communicating to serve the clients better. Very often, it's just uh, confidence that the client needs that you will deliver what you have promised. Handling pressures. Learning how to handle or manage situation under pressure is very important. There can be many pressure-filled situations, like being confronted with a complaint from a colleague, budgetary limitations versus client being very demanding on the deliverables for an event, difficult clients who do not appreciate your efforts, workload that builds up until the event. Client expects a great event every time. The audience, a quality experience, and the event manager is responsible for various aspects of this. And believe me, the pressures can be extremely tough. We work in a 24/7 industry. We have to be careful about what the client expectation is, at the same time, manage our vendors and suppliers, and also be there to give the confidence to the team that we're working together and we're all working towards delivering a good quality event. At the same time, also handle any kind of crisis that may come up that derail your plan from the way you want it to go. And those crises, more while most of the times you try to have a backup plan or have a contingency plan, sometimes things are thrown at you that you did not plan for. More and more such situations can come up. So having a team maybe to take care of a contingency or a crisis situation would be a good idea, whose job is only to manage crisis situations so that everyone else is not derailed from what they want to achieve or what they want to deliver. Thank you, and I hope this session was useful for you and you've taken away some good insights on what the skills required to be an event manager are.